right. All right, it looks like we are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our live stream. My name is Liz Bradley. I am the director of Love Slavers Lost and one of the founders of Two Muses. I use pronouns she, her, and I'm excited to chat with some of the actors and producers of our serial Shakespeare tonight. So let's go around and just introduce ourselves and what you did with the show. So Chelsea, do you want to start?
I can start. So hi there, I'm Chelsea de Torres. I was the stage manager and one of the producers for this play, as well as acting in it as Catherine. My pronouns are she, they, and I am really excited to be making this a reality and hope you all enjoy it.
All right. Anybody can just jump in. Who wants to say hi?
Hi, I'm Lauren. My pronouns are she, her. I played the princess, and I just really enjoyed working on the show, and I hope everyone loves it as much as I loved working on it.
All right. How about Andrew? Say hi.
Cool, I'll jump in. Thank you. Hi, I'm Andrew Puaru. I use the pronouns he, him, and I was Lord Barone in Love Slavers Lost, which I'm excited to see. I don't think any of us have seen the first bit, so this is going to be exciting for all of us, I think.
Yeah. I was going to say, I think I'm the only one. Oh, Chelsea has seen it as well. She got to preview before everybody else. But yeah, we're going to let Nathan in as well. He's coming on in. Kelly, why don't you say hi?
All right, well, I'm Kelly Anglum. My pronouns are she, her, and I play Rosaline. And I'm really excited about tonight too, because I feel like there's a whole half of this cast that I haven't gotten to see for like the last month. So I cannot wait to see how this turns out.
Very awesome. All right, Tommy, why don't you say hi?
Hi guys, I'm Tommy de Torres. My pronouns are she, her. And I played Anthony Dull, the constable in this play, and it really was just really fun to see all the different ways we could use Zoom and little technological tricks. So that was just really exciting.
Very good. Awesome. And then Nathan.
Hi, I'm Nathan Bradley. My pronouns are he, him, and I have no idea what else we're supposed to say.
Yeah, just what did you do in the show?
Oh, I was Custard and one of the producers. He agrees.
I was going to say, we can't see your friend there. One of our constant little babies on the show. Our families have definitely put up with a lot, I think, with us filming in our houses, in our living rooms, our bedrooms, our, entryways, kind of wherever we could find space. So very cool. All right. So we gathered a whole bunch of questions from people across social media. And what we're going to do over the next half hour is just kind of chat about the show and answer people's questions about what it's like to do virtual theater like this. So the first question is actually for Chelsea. Chelsea, this whole thing was your brainchild, your idea. So why Love Slavers Lost? It's not one of the more popular plays. So what made you think this is the perfect show for this format?
So this actually started as I was bored during quarantine and not auditioning, not being in plays, not being creative in that kind of extroverted, here I am kind of way. And I wanted something to do that. So I love Shakespeare. I was digging through all the plays, and it was actually a conversation with Nathan where I started talking about Love Slavers Lost, because it has this element of quarantining yourself. It has an element of masking yourself for disguises, but in a little bit more fun, because the rules about this quarantine are less serious when you break them and less concerning when your mask comes off. So it felt like it spoke a little bit to a playful, humorous side of how things could be. And I wanted to explore that. I wanted to see what we could do with all this Zoom nonsense that we're dealing with every day and just make it a really good, easy way for people to access Shakespeare. And that's why I reached out to you and Nathan about making it a reality, because I know that's always been one of the main goals of your theater is to make Shakespeare more accessible.
Yeah, for sure. I remember one of our first conversations was about masks, and you were like, I really want COVID masks. And I was just like, yeah, okay, like let's try to make this whole awfulness kind of fun and funny. Like, and I thought that that was an awesome idea. So I guess our next question goes out to everybody. Anybody can answer this one. What was something that you discovered as an actor working in this type of platform compared to doing Shakespeare like live on a stage? How was this different for you? Don't all jump at once.
A hush over the crowd.
This is, I think, my fourth virtual production. And the first one I actually did at the beginning of the pandemic because it was The Tempest and it was supposed to be live, but then obviously that didn't happen. And I'd been cast as Ariel, and I'm a dancer and an aerialist too. So I was planning to do a lot of things that then I couldn't do anymore. So this whole year has been a really big learning experience of like, they can't see me from here down. So like, what can I do from here up to tell the story? And it's been one thing where I'm like, this is a skill set I'm not sure if I'm ever going to be good at, but it's been a really cool learning experience.
I mean, one of the things that I kind of picked up was forced to learn in digital theater is kind of how not to yell. I think just like being on a stage, I'm used to projecting my voice, or at least attempting to go to the back row. And I have this mic right here. So, and then Zoom is kind enough to go, you're too loud. I'm just going to cut off your audio.
A little like warning.
Yeah, exactly. So that was probably one of the things for me that was a bit of a challenge. I'm not really versed in like film acting. So doing this and really playing with my voice at like a lower volume was definitely a little bit of a learning curve for me. Yeah.
I mean, I was going to say, I think kind of going off what Lauren was saying, it's kind of freeing in a way to only have to act from the neck up. You get to focus all of the other energy into this one little arena. And at least for me, it's just like a lot less to think about. And it felt freer and definitely, fun, if not more fun, I would argue. But yeah, no, it was really fun to kind of navigate the nuance of doing it through this little screen where I get to talk to someone like this and they're not here, but they're here. It was really cool.
Yeah, I always thought that was interesting because I never had to do the acting off to the side where you're looking at like, I'm looking at my bookshelf, but really it looks like I'm looking at, who, Chelsea? Like, hi, Chelsea, over there. But it's so foreign, but it looks so cool from my end. And I'm going through and editing all of the stuff in post-production, and it just looks so natural. But it is such like a weird experience on your end, being alone in your room talking to like a bookcase when it's supposedly your scene partner. So Kelly, what did you find?
Well, to go off of looking at different places on the screen, at first I started with Post-it notes, just to remember, okay, this person is over here when I talk to them and over here. But then Post-it notes started to get really weird and I was just looking at a weird Post-it note. So I actually was printing off pictures of just like random fictional characters so I could have eyeballs to look at. And for me, that really made a huge difference. I was like, oh, I'm actually talking to something now instead of.
Love that. We should send out everybody's headshots and be like, just place them on sticks around your room, and then you know where your scene partners.
This was my King Ferdinand. For like several scenes, this is where I put Mike. He was just sitting there, and I'd look directly into his eyes and be all like, "The king."
That's amazing.
A little singing in the rain dog.
That's fabulous. Oh, these are all.
Did you have one of those for everyone?
I didn't, I had actually I kind of had I have a book with like Bugs Bunny on the spine. So I was looking at Bugs Bunny for Dumaine, I think. And then I was just looking at this like ceiling for Longaville or some variation of that. But yeah, little things. If I can catch like a character's face, I was like, you are my character now.
That's fabulous. Chelsea, what was it like for you?
I think my hardest thing was I've worked from home online for years, and having a person in the house and pets, and I am really good on stage of not reacting when something surprising happens. But what broke me was having something surprising happen with my animals going off in another room and not being able to react. And I could see it in my face, like I'm holding it in during rehearsal, like, there's very loud noises going on over there. I got to go do something about that. So that was the hardest thing for me, was learning how not to react to the really loud noises that no one else could hear.
Yeah. And that was, people were always asking me, oh, can you hear like X, Y, and Z happening in my world? And I'm like, no, like that's good. I could hear the chaos that is my house, which Nathan can attest to. What was it like filming a show here?
I was just about to say, does anybody else hear the child banging on a metal chair right next to me? Because that's happening. Good thing I'm muted. Yeah, that was a lot because I'm already trying to like focus extra hard because I don't have a real scene partner to work with. And then I have all these distractions of children screaming or eating things they shouldn't be eating.
Yeah. I think it was interesting too, because I can hear an echo. And so Nathan and I are in the same house. He's in a room on the other side of the wall in front of me. So I could hear him acting and I wouldn't see it until a split second later on the screen. So it was this very weird, like, is my computer lagging? Is it the internet? What's the connection? So I would get in this whole time space where I was like, I'm asking the actors to pick up the cues, but I don't know if it's possible, because I think sometimes you guys were reacting like immediately from when you heard the line, but it didn't necessarily like pick up immediately. And it's funny how like on stage, those split seconds can like make a huge difference in a scene where it's just like, then you have the internet and it lags for a second and it kills the entire thing. And you're like, well, we're going to have to re-record that. But speaking of recording, we did this show, not everyone watching knows, we did this show where we started at the beginning and pretty much stayed in order. We rehearsed the first scene, we recorded it, and we moved on. And we never went back and ran. The only time we were all together and read the whole show was at the read-through. So how was that for you guys? Did you find that that was a positive thing? Was it, whatever? How did that make you guys feel?
For me, it was a mixed bag. Well, I enjoyed the whole, okay, I can compartmentalize the learning of the lines and all of that. That's great. That's all fine and well. But it also made it a little more challenging because I would constantly be like, all right, where am I? What just happened an hour ago in showtime? And I having to get in the headspace that you should have been in, which you would have been in 10 minutes ago in the previous scene had you been doing the whole run straight through. So it was kind of a mixed bag for me in terms of pros and cons.
Yeah, I'm like Andrew said earlier, I haven't really done like a lot of on-camera stuff. So I know like in the film industry, like you shoot out of sequence. And one of the other virtual productions I did, we did shoot out of sequence. And that was a really unique experience for me. So for this one, I did appreciate that it was more or less in order, because it was easier for me to, like, in terms of character arc, to kind of know where the princess was emotionally. And also I did appreciate that after our first read through, we did, with you, Liz, we did one-on-one character sessions. So that was super helpful. I am a big, like, backstory, table work, taking notes. I'm a writer. I think that's a big part of it. But that really helped to, like, kind of fill out a form and answer questions and and have something to kind of call back to.
Yeah, I love paperwork. I'm like, if I get all the pre-show paperwork, Chelsea, when did we start? We started talking about this before Christmas, right?
We started talking about it before Christmas, and then we actually, like, hit the books and started working on it in January.
Yeah.
The homework was like, hey, between Christmas and January and Hanukkah here and whatever the case may be, it was, where can I fit in reading the play and
Right.
thinking about how this was actually going to translate.
Like, if we actually wanted to go forward with doing it. But
yes, it was
spent months on just paperwork and pre-work to kind of plan how to do this show. So it's something that the actual rehearsal period was pretty short compared to all the other stuff going on. And I think that was crucial in it actually working. There were
say, this was the easiest set design I've ever been part of. Even with, working out some green screens with people, this was by and far, we were picking out what we wanted, and it was really easy to get it set up.
We didn't have to pick up a single screw gun or piece of 2x4. It was amazing.
My favorite part was not having to say, well, that didn't work, and then starting from scratch all over again with said screw gun.
Nobody got sent to the ER. It was perfect. So, yeah. Speaking of, like, the tech stuff, costuming. Now, we had a question in the chat about how did we approach costuming. Now, I don't love costumes. It's my least favorite kind of technical element for shows. I have a hard time visualizing. If somebody shows me something, I'm like, oh yeah, that's great. Like, I don't know where that came from in your brain, but I love it. So I kind of handed off costumes. We talked in our one-on-ones, like Lauren said, and then I kind of handed costuming over to you guys. So how did you guys approach kind of costuming your own character? The only guidelines I really gave you were some colors and that it was modern, because we needed to use our own wardrobes. So how did you guys approach costuming? Because I didn't have to.
I mean, like, I had a pretty easy color because I got red, and I have a lot of stuff that had red in it. So I basically just kind of went, what looks kind of fancy for Barone? And I just pulled out everything. And then it was kind of, for me, it was just kind of a process going, do these match? Yes. Where am I? That could work. So it was like a trial and error process for me, but it was fun because, again, I have a lot of red stuff that being in quarantine for a year, you don't get to pull out. So
that's true. Not a lot of fancy wear opportunities. Awesome. Kelly, you also had red. So
I did.
How'd that go for you?
Well, I actually really like costuming. I've costumed a lot locally in college, and so I love dissecting a show and figuring out a costume plot. And red, I have a decent amount of red, but I don't wear red very often. So that was kind of fun. But for me, I just kind of approached it with thinking about Rosaline's personality, and I thought maybe she would, in her dress, she would just be like a tiny bit extra, not a whole lot extra, but just a little bit. So like the hat and the sweater, or
I think your hat was one of my favorite costume pieces.
I felt so ridiculous in that, because I was like, I both love this and I feel like I am not cool enough to pull this off.
Oh no, it looks fabulous on screen. It looks so good.
But so I tried to find little extra things I could add in there that wouldn't be too big and take away, since there's only so much you can see. I didn't want it to be the focus of something, but just to add in a little extra something is how I did that.
I had a specific look in mind for how I wanted Castard to look. And unfortunately, because of the setting we were doing this in, it actually didn't quite work out. Like, I wanted to have an unbuttoned shirt over the white undershirt that I had ended up wearing for the show. But every time I put it on, this all disappeared. And so I was just like a rectangle. And I was like, well, this isn't going to cut it. So I ended up having to unfortunately scrap that. But I mean, I still got to wear the hat, and the hat's pretty awesome.
Yeah, we also put some characters in green and with green screens. That was fun. So thankfully, Kay, our domain, was brilliant and used a blue screen instead of a green screen so that they could wear the green that I was like, oh yeah, green, totally fine. Yeah, virtual theater. You know, on the regular stage, it's like, don't put anybody in white. But here it's don't put them in green because they disappear. And black disappeared a lot too.
Yes.
Armado's cape would disappear all the time. So at one point we were like, just throw it off. Make it a character choice because you're disappearing. So yeah. Anybody else have fun costume stuff?
So I will say, as someone else in the Green family, wearing green on stage, like that was a constant choice. It's like why I was trying to work with a chair behind me, because then having a black chair behind me helps that stay put. But my favorite costume piece was actually Madame this glove. So it's really weird and awkward and ladylike, and so I dig it. And I am almost sad that I didn't get to wear it for more of the play.
Yes, awesome. All right. If anybody didn't have any more costume things, our next question we had was, what is your favorite part of this show? So for me, I love Don Armado's monologue about love. It happens in the second scene, and it's just, love is a familiar, love is a devil, there's no evil angel but love. And it's just, I don't know what it is. The first time I did the show, this time it's just like such a dramatic piece. I just saw, and I might have shared it for the I don't know if I shared it on the Two Muses page, but I shared it on my personal page. They did a challenge where it was, is it a Taylor Swift song lyric or is it from Shakespeare? Yeah, Lauren, do you see that? And they had Love is a Devil. And I was like, that's Love's Labors. And almost everybody got it wrong. And they thought it was Taylor Swift. And I was
got it wrong. It's the only one I got it wrong.
You were in that scene, but it's just, he's so dramatic and I love it. It's just my favorite. So what other parts did you guys love?
My favorite part was recording the song. I just had so much fun just singing and lip syncing and just rocking out. It was honestly just like a fun moment to just kind of be like, okay, how would Anthony Dull, the constable, perform in a band? Something he might have wanted to do since he was a little kid, but always couldn't because of his role and all this fun stuff. Yeah.
Do you want to talk for a second about recording a song? Like, because that we did not all do together. How was that?
True. So that was interesting because even when you're filming Zoom, in most of our scenes, you get to see the people kind of like in peripheral on the screen doing some kind of reaction. But when you're recording the song, you have to make all these reactions and there's not a soul in sight on your peripheral or off. So you kind of had to memorize exactly where people would be, especially for me. I really wanted to know where Don Amarato was. So it was really important that I was getting that right. But it was just kind of different and definitely fun. Yeah,
because from a technical standpoint, singing live on Zoom doesn't happen because of that lag. And I think at the beginning of the pandemic, there were a couple of productions or people who tried to do kind of group singing things, and it was very quickly like, oh, this doesn't work because you just can't sync it up. So the solution is to, like Tommy said, record everything by yourself. So we have recordings of every single actor separately, then they all get compiled together and the track gets laid over it and it syncs up using different programs and stuff to kind of make it look like everybody's singing together. And when it's done right, it's really cool. So yeah. What are other people's favorite parts?
I like a lot of the friend moments. I was actually in a production of this 2 years ago as Rosaline, and something that's always stuck with me and what drew me to audition for it again is just the moments between the princess and Rosaline and their friends, and they're just, I mean, it gets a little sad at the end, but for the most part, they're just having a good time. It's like these dudes are crazy and they're not as smart as they think they are, and we're totally outsmarting them. And we're in the woods and this is a blast. And that's just, especially right now where, things aren't so much a blast. Like that was a really lovely bit of escapism to do those scenes again.
I really love our hunt, to be specific to our production. And I don't want to give anything away, but I just thought that was so innovative. And the background chat going on was so stressful, but so much fun. Just trying to think of something and do that and still be present. And I loved the whole show. I think there's so much innovation and these tiny little details that are really special. And for me, the hunt is one of them.
Yeah,
I'm
that
gonna
was
jump
really
on that.
special.
That was phenomenal to do. I got so invested. Like,
You did.
I was ready to go off into the side story about the hunt and forget the rest of the play.
Yeah, I think I had like 6 windows open for that. I learned that dual monitors are amazing, and I could still I see those setups where it's like 3 and I'm like, ooh, 3, I could do that. The hunt scene was a lot. I had, I think, 6 windows open to manage that recording. Yeah, Andrew, what did you like?
I mean, I like the scene that we're about to see in like 2 or a minute and a half, but I do love Dumain's opening line. My loving lord, Dumain is mortified, and Kate they just deliver that so well. So I'm excited to see that happen again. But yeah, the whole process in general was just so fantastic.
Yeah, that was awesome. So like Andrew said, we are 2 minutes, a minute and a half away from the first scene dropping. So if you haven't looked over on YouTube, you can see it says premiere in 60 seconds. So I'll put the links down in the chat here, and everyone, we can head on over to that video. I want to just thank everyone for coming, at 6:30 on a, what is this, Tuesday afternoon? I don't know what day it is anymore. And just chatting and sharing. And I hopefully will see you guys more in the chats throughout the month as we release videos. So thanks, guys. Have a great night.